Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're doing a makeup tutorial. Yes, a good old-fashioned makeup tutorial. I wanted to do a long wear event in the heat, special occasion makeup look. This is like my go-to if I am going somewhere special. It's gonna be hot, I'm gonna be gone a long time. I want my makeup to look good and last all day long. That is the makeup I'm going to share today, but I'm also going to share how I get this hair, my signature kind of loose, bouncy waves that I have in pretty much every video. And I did want to thank Dreame for partnering with me on a portion of today's video. Like I said, I'm going to get into the makeup look, but first let's start with the hair. They go hand in hand. If I am doing my makeup for a special occasion, I want my outfit to look good, I want my makeup to look good, and of course, I want my hair to look good. So for these really nice, loose, bouncy curls, I love using the Dreame Airstyle Era with 8 different attachments. You can get salon quality blowouts and hairstyles at home. The auto wrap curling barrels literally grab on to the hair. No clamping, no twisting. It grabs the hair itself, and the barrels are also labeled for you so you know exactly which attachment to use for each side of your hair, so there's no guesswork. I always make sure to use the cold shot feature as well. This really sets the curl so it will last a lot longer and really hold. Even though I typically go for this look, a really loose, bouncy curl, I do love having the option with the Airstyle Era to use the straightening attachment. The advanced airflow technology straightens the hair without high heat, which keeps your hair really strong and healthy. And the best part is it comes with this gorgeous pink leather storage case. Honestly, I was shocked when I opened mine because it's so nice. It is soft, buttery, really high quality feeling leather. The case itself is so nice. This Airstyle Era, I'm telling you, you can get amazing salon quality hair at home for a lot less. Save yourself some time and some money. I will have the link to the styler in the description box if you're interested. You can also use my discount code BlairEra26 to save 30%. And thank you so much to Dreame for partnering with me on this portion of today's video. All right, so today I wanted to do a realistic makeup tutorial, long wear makeup for an event when it's hot outside specifically. So I am going to be going to a wedding next month and it's outside. It's going to be hot, like I'm guessing probably about 100 degrees. This is the makeup look that I would do for an occasion like that. And I don't know that I've ever done a video like this showing you like start to finish what I would do for my hair and my makeup. So we're gonna do that today. And obviously I'm just fresh out of the shower. I washed my face. I don't have anything on my face yet. And my hair is just damp. So we're gonna do it start to finish. Let's start with skin prep. So all I've done is wash my face with my regular cleanser. Now for long wear makeup, event makeup, especially in heat or just for longevity purposes, skin prep, super important. Everybody says it and it's true. However, if you are going to be outside specifically and it's going to be hot and we need this makeup to last for hours, like extended periods of time, you do want to prep your skin, but I would also say you don't want to over prep. And what I mean by over prep is you don't want to apply 10 skincare products before your makeup. You want to apply a few that get you really hydrated and really prepped so that your makeup will last, your makeup will go on evenly, but it won't slip and slide everywhere. Because that's the thing, if you apply too much, that's gonna hurt you in the long run for long wear makeup. And if you're wanting long wear event makeup, you wanna look your best, you want your makeup and your hair to look as good as they can. So I've talked about this before. I'm gonna use a Milky toner. So this is the HaruHaru Wonder Black Rice Barrier Essence. This is the perfect makeup prep product, in my opinion, because it is milky, it's super nourishing, feels incredible, but it's not thick, it's not heavy, but it will hydrate your skin, and it's a perfect base for makeup. Any skin type could use it. Any skin type should be prepping your skin, whether you have dry skin, oily skin, normal skin, combo skin, whatever. You have to prep your skin. But like I said, you just don't want to over prep. So I'm bringing this everywhere. I'm bringing it under my eyes because we want to prep there too. And I'm also bringing it down my neck, especially if you're, you know, your shoulders, your neck are going to be exposed. You want to prep those areas too. While I'm waiting for that to kind of sink in, I'm gonna prep my lips with this Ravie Beauty Lip Renewal oil. You wanna prep your lips too. So by the time we get to lips, they're not super dry and crusty. So you can use whatever you have, but I have the Ravie Beauty. Now I'm gonna give this another minute to kind of sit. Something else I wanted to mention, especially for long wear makeup, you want to make sure you're letting each step kind of sit on the skin before you move on. So you want to allow enough time, which I always struggle with this. Sometimes I find that I don't leave myself enough time when I'm really like getting dressed for an occasion. I will just go as fast as I can, or I don't leave myself enough time. And that's annoying. So leave yourself enough time. You will thank yourself later. So definitely want to let each step kind of sit for a minute and have a chance to set before you move on. Now, if you are going somewhere during the day, do not skip your SPF. Please do not use a moisturizing SPF after your Milky toner. Honestly, those are the two things I would recommend for skin prep. You don't need any more than that. You really don't, as long as your skin looks and feels like it's ready for makeup. That's all I would do. I would not go in with more and more and more. Now, if you are not going to a daytime event, obviously SPF is not necessary. In that case, I would use either a regular moisturizer or like a moisturizing primer next before you get started with the makeup. So you could use, you could use anything, to be honest. I think I'm gonna go in with this MAC Studio Radiance base because I am not going out anywhere. In fact, it is nighttime when I'm filming this, so I will not be going outside. In fact, it's getting dark, so I'm not going to do SPF, but if I were going out for like a daytime wedding or something, or whatever you're doing outside in the daylight, I would use a moisturizing SPF, like the Tatcha one or the Summer Fridays one. I have a bunch that I like that I can link for you, but we're not going outside today. So I'm just gonna go in with this primer. And again, I'm gonna put it everywhere, under the eyes, and really work it into the skin. I really like this one. It is scented though. That's the only thing. If you are sensitive to fragrance, I would probably skip this MAC one. The last thing I want to say while I'm letting that primer kind of set down is something else. When you're doing makeup for an event or something special, a wedding, whatever it is, I would always recommend trying out your makeup and your skin prep together before that day comes. Don't be using something different. Don't be trying something different on days like that. I feel like that is just asking for disaster. So make sure you've tried these things together beforehand, before that day comes. That way you don't have to stress about it. And as long as you're letting each step sit and marinate on the skin, you shouldn't have to worry about anything weird happening or pilling. So I would always recommend trying all your products, including your skin prep, beforehand, so you don't have any issues. All right, so this is one of the only times when I would do my eyes first. I only do that for special occasions. I typically do base and then eyes because day to day I don't put much on my eyes and it's just not necessary. But for something like this, for a wedding or something special, my hair is wet, we're doing the whole thing, I'm gonna do my eyes first. So that means I'm gonna do my brows first before we get to that. So I I'm gonna do my brows like I normally do. I'm just doing them first to get them out of the way. And then I kind of need to see the brows to be able to do my eyeshadow. So this will kind of frame the eye before we get into shadows. And again, I'm not gonna do anything special here. I'm gonna use what I know I really like, which is this ABH brow pencil. So this is a brow powder pencil, which looks like you used an eyeshadow in your brows. And I like it because it looks incredibly natural and soft. So I'm gonna fill these in, and then we'll move into the fun stuff, which is the eyeshadow. Okay, and then for me to set my brows, there is no other product that I would trust than the Benefit 24-hour brow setter. This will lock your brows in, I promise you. I have yet to find something that I like that comes close to this stuff. I'm telling you, if you haven't tried it and you have trouble keeping your brows in place, do yourself a favor and try this one. However, you will probably not want to use anything else after you do. All right, let's move into the eyes now. So for long wear makeup, eyeshadow, you want to use some type of primer. It doesn't have to be an actual eye primer. It can be, or it can be a cream shadow. It could be a concealer if you want. I don't personally love using concealer as an eyeshadow base because I find it creases and I feel like it doesn't keep my eye makeup in place as well as something like a cream or a liquid shadow does, or an actual eyeshadow primer. So I typically would use one of these two products, MAC Eye Base, of course, Pro Longwear Paint Pot. I don't know why I just forgot the name, but this in Painterly, or the new Multi Sculpt liquid shadow, also in Painterly. I think we're just gonna go for classic Painterly. And I'm gonna use this with my favorite brush for creams and liquids, which is a 206 from BK Beauty. And the beauty of doing eyes first is you don't have to worry about everything being perfect because you haven't done your base, so you can clean things up. That's the one nice thing about doing makeup this way. I just don't typically, because just day to day, I just don't need perfect eyeshadow because I barely wear it. I use like one shadow and that's it. So I'm just gonna get this all over, and this will act as a primer. So this will give the eyeshadow something to adhere to, but it will also even out the lids because I have a lot of redness, a lot of discoloration on my eyelids, like a lot of people do. So I'm just pressing this on all over, all the way up to the brow. All right, so we've got our paint pot on. Now this is just like an extra thing you can do. I'm gonna take a little bit of this Fenty powder, like very, very little. This is just the Invisimatte powder, and I'm just gonna add a little bit of this on top of that MAC paint pot. Again, you don't really need to do this. The paint pots do fine on their own, but just as like an extra step to really make sure the shadow lasts, it doesn't crease, it doesn't wear away, we're gonna do it. For eyeshadow, for any type of special occasion, I've said this before, I will say it again. It's always gonna be ethereal eyes for me, like it's not even a question. This is just always what I go for because this is what makes me feel my best, always. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna take a little bit of the brown, so the warm brown, and I like to mix it with this cream color. The reason I do that is because tapping into both shades kind of tones down the intensity of the brown and it makes it a little bit softer and a little bit more neutral instead of super warm. That's like the warmest shade in the palette. So mixing it with the cream just kind of tones that down a little bit. So I'm keeping my eyes open and I'm applying this in the crease. And I'm using the BK Beauty N13 from Nikki LaRose. This is my favorite crease brush. If I had to pick one, this one's my favorite. So I'm kind of putting this in the crease, and then I'm also kind of bringing it down into this outer corner. Now I'm switching to a smaller brush. This is a 211 from BK Beauty, and I'm going to use the pink shade right here. And I'm going to basically kind of stamp that pink shade right in this outer corner. I like this shade because it's very muted. It is a pink, but it's like a really soft kind of blushy pink. So I'm just pressing in that outer corner. And that, you can see, gives us a little bit of a lift. And again, the beauty of doing eyes first is this doesn't need to be perfect because we can always clean up the edge. Now I'm going back to that first brush that we used, the N13, and I didn't add any product. I'm just going around the edges now and diffusing everything so it looks nice and soft. Switching back to the 211, I'm going to go in with this gray right here. It's a really soft gray. And again, I'm going to mix a little bit of that cream color with it. And I'm going to take this shade right here in the inner part of the brow, right underneath it, and just add a little bit more shadow to that area. Not a lot, just a tiny little bit. It just kind of helps connect the eyes and make it so that this area doesn't look completely bare. And now for the fun part for right now. Let's do one of the fun toppers. This one is definitely my favorite. This one's like more of a champagne, pretty neutral one. And I'm using my finger and I'm just tapping this right in the center all the way up though. So you get that really nice, like scattered wet effect. And again, since we did the eyes first, we don't really need to worry about fallout or anything. Although I will say, I use this palette all the time and I have for a long time. I don't ever have trouble with fallout with these for some reason. I know a lot of people do. I've never found that to be an issue at all. All right, we're gonna stop right here with the eyes for right now. We'll come back and finish them up towards the end, but let's get into the base now. So our skin prep has had quite a bit of time to sit and kind of set down. I still have some glow to my skin. One thing I will sometimes do if I am really wanting to make sure I'm doing all the steps, so all the things, I'm not skipping anything, I'll take a little bit of MAC Fix Plus at this step and spray my face before we go in with the base. It just kind of refreshes everything, and since we've had that skin prep on for quite a while now, so I'm going to take a little bit of this and spray my face. All right, now is when you could apply a primer if you are a primer person. Obviously, we did use the MAC earlier, so this is technically a primer. It really just moisturizes the skin, in my opinion. So this would be the time if you want to do, you know, a mattifying primer, a pore smoothing primer, a grippy primer. Now would be the time. Typically, I would go in with a little bit of this Maybelline Grippy Serum Primer. So I'm going to use some, but I am going to use just a little bit. So you don't need a lot of this stuff. And I'm going to focus it where I tend to have issues with makeup wearing off, which on me is like right here by my nose and this inner cheek area. So I'm really just gonna focus this Grippy primer right here. And this is optional. Honestly, I think the most important things with long wear makeup are skin prep and powder and light layers. Those are like the three things that I think make the biggest difference. I don't really think a primer is always necessary, but I do like this one. If you're wanting a recommendation, the Maybelline one is great. And again, I'm gonna let it sit for a minute before we move on. Let's get into the foundation. So the foundation I would choose right now based on everything I own and everything in my collection is Makeup Forever. This new skin balancing foundation is absolutely gorgeous. It was like love at first use for me, truly. So we're gonna go in with this, and let me grab a brush. So I'm gonna get it off the back of my hand, and you could do this, you know, traditionally, like dotting it on or however you want to do it. But for things like this, I'm gonna get this like primed into my brush and then go on the skin. I just find that this gives a really even application, and a lot of the blending work is kind of done for you when you apply foundation this way. And you also want to make sure that you are pressing the foundation in. You don't want to swipe or buff when you're going for long wear makeup. But yeah, this foundation, oh my goodness, it is so incredibly beautiful. Natural finish, so it's not incredibly dewy or matte. It's like right in between. It is so pretty, so pretty. This one also gives incredible coverage also. This was about a pump and a half, and you can see you get amazing coverage right away. If it looks a little bit light, don't worry. It will be fine once we add bronzer and everything else. This is a good winter shade for me, but for right now it's like a tiny bit light, but we'll fix it. Now, next tip, always a Blair tip. If you have discoloration, darkness under your eyes, please use a color corrector, especially for long wear makeup, because throughout the day, if you go in straight away with a concealer that is too light, throughout the day, your darkness will just continue to show through more and more and more and more. It'll make your under eyes look gray. It's no good. So especially for like event makeup, long wear, whatever, you need to color correct if you have pretty significant darkness. So for me, I'm gonna go in with my Holy Grail, which is the Kosas in the shade Illusion. I'm gonna also apply a little bit in this inner part of my eye because I do have a little bit of like a bluish purple shadow there. And just going to press that in with a pretty dense concealer brush. So we're keeping that color corrector where we placed it. We're not spreading it. We just want to knock out the majority of that darkness that we have here. And trust me, you're going to be so glad that you color corrected. It is so important, and it makes the biggest difference in how your under eyes look and just how your makeup looks overall, I promise. Now, this is the step when I would typically spot conceal. So if you apply your base and anything is still showing through that you want to cover, this is when I'm going to use a concealer. And of course, I'm going to use my Holy Grail favorite, Natasha Denona. Honestly, I don't really need very much more coverage. That Makeup Forever, like I said, does a really nice job of covering. I'm going to add a little tiny bit of this to my cheeks right here. That's, like I said earlier, kind of where makeup tends to rub off on me. So I like to hit that area with a little bit more coverage, but honestly, I don't really need a lot more. So if you had more that you need to cover, obviously use more. Again, super long wearing, very thin, but gives great coverage. Y'all know I love Natasha Denona so much. And before we blend, we're gonna let it kind of sit and marinate for a minute so we get the most opacity and it really adheres to the skin. I'm gonna take my same foundation brush and press that concealer into the skin. And again, you want to press. We don't want to swipe or tug or buff. We want to press so that we are pushing it into the skin so you get the coverage and you get the longevity. All right, let's add some color back to my face now. I'm going to skip concealer under the eyes. I'm going to wait and do that after bronzer and blush. So let's go in with bronzer. This is my go-to right now. I literally can't stop using this. This is the Westman Sun Tone Bronzing Cream. You get 2 shades. I'm going to start with the lighter shade down here. And I like this because it's it's more of a rosy kind of beigey tone. And again, I'm just pressing this into the skin. I love this color. This is so weird to do makeup with my hair up like this when it's wet. I would do that like sometimes on my own, but I don't think I've ever done this in a video before, but I thought it would be fun to do like the whole process. I'm gonna go in with a little bit of the darker, warmer color also, since that foundation is a little bit light. We'll use a little bit of both. Y'all will have to let me know in the comments of this video, what are some of your like go-to long wear makeup products or techniques, things that you do for days when you want your makeup to last a really long time, or just products that like don't let you down. I love learning about what other people love and what they trust for this type of makeup look. So let me know. Taking some on my jawline also. And I'm just gonna kind of take what's left on the brush and bring it down my neck as well. Then I'm just gonna take my foundation brush. Again, I don't have any additional product on it, and I'm just gonna go around the edges just so, again, we're nice and blended. Now, the best part, or one of the best parts, which is blush. So I've been sitting here thinking, which blush am I gonna use? Okay, I think I'm gonna go with this one because honestly, I can't get enough of this right now. And it also has the corresponding powder. This is the Tarte Macaron Blush and Glow in the shade Toasted Coconut. If you watch my videos regularly, you've probably heard me talk about this. So I'm going in with the cream, and this is just the most gorgeous, warm, pinky nude. I just absolutely love it. It's also really pretty on the lips as well. It reminds me a little bit of my favorite Naughty Talk lipstick from Charlotte Tilbury that I'm always talking about. It's kind of like a similar tone to that, which I think is one of the reasons why I love this shade so much. And I'm using the same brush I just used with that Westman contour. It's the 109 from BK Beauty. And I'm going up pretty high with the blush also, since we haven't done concealer yet. Now we're gonna go in with concealer under the eyes. And I'm gonna use Natasha Denona in the shade N2. But I'm gonna try to not like completely overdo it with concealer because I don't love super heavy concealer. So I'm just gonna leave or I'm gonna keep the placement there. And again, we're gonna let it sit for a minute before we blend. I'm gonna let it sit. And now I'm going to press that concealer in. And again, I don't always do this little bit over on the edge, but like I said, since we're not skipping any steps here, I'm gonna do it for, you know, long wear makeup, and obviously we want everything to look nice and lifted. Honestly, I'm kind of shocked I didn't have to go in and clean this edge up over here with a makeup wipe. Sometimes I'll like go too low down on the corners when I'm doing eye makeup, and then I have to kind of clean it up a little bit with a wipe, but honestly I did pretty well today. All right, so now we've got all of our creams and liquids on our face. So this is very important for long wear makeup. At this point, I would then go in again with a setting spray once you've done all your liquids and all your creams. So I'm gonna use MAC Fix Plus, which is what we used earlier before we started with the face makeup. However, for like actual long wear, if this was really for the event, I would probably do Fix Plus Stay Over. I just find this keeps my makeup on so long, but mine is empty, unfortunately, so I can't use this, but that is great. It's a very nice long wear setting spray, and it has a great mister as well. It doesn't like spit at you. It has a nice mister, but this is all we have right now, so we're gonna use this. We're gonna spray our face. Now it's time for powder. So you want to use a good loose setting powder. I'm going to go for Laura Mercier Ultra Blur today. I would either use this or the Makeup by Mario, the Surreal Skin setting powder. I'm kind of in the mood for the Laura Mercier today. They're very similar. Laura Mercier is even more blurring, I would say, than the Makeup by Mario, but they're very similar. So I'm going to take this with a 108 brush from BK Beauty, and I'm going to kind of prime the brush in the palm of my hand with this powder. But before we set, especially like the under eye area, I want to look and make sure I do not have a ton of creasing, which honestly I have barely any. All right, so we're going to take this powder, and I like to start right by the side of my nose in this inner corner of the eye right here. And priming into the brush like this, again, kind of helps it keep from being too much, like too many layers, or too thick of a layer, I should say, of the powder. A lot of people you'll see use like the puffs. Sometimes I will, but most of the time I'm just not a big puff person, to be honest. I just prefer brushes. So I've set majority of my T-zone. Now I'm going to switch to a smaller brush for the under eye area. And again, I'm going to kind of prime the brush and press that powder in. And this is going to make sure that I kind of keep it right where I need it under the eyes. And again, this is just for long wear makeup purposes. I don't always do this. We want to lock everything in. Now, since we want this makeup to last, we are also going to set our blush and our bronzer with the powder version. So we're going to use powder bronzer and powder blush. This is, again, just going to make sure that we keep this makeup in place. So I'm going to take a little bit of my Hourglass bronzer, and I'm going to go over the areas where we placed that Westman duo. And I'm not like packing it on, I'm just kind of lightly pressing over that area. And again, we want to press because we don't want to move anything. I'm going to take a little bit on my nose too and down my neck. And then we're going to use powder bronzer. So I'm just going to use the one with the cream duo from Tarte. And this is a glowy powder blush. So this is going to give us a little bit of glow also. So I'm kind of getting it on the brush and going on my hand. And I'm just pressing that on. And this will set the blush and it will give us a tiny bit of glow also. One final step here. I'm going to take my foundation brush one more time and just go around the edges again and just make sure everything is nice and seamless. All right, let's go back to the eyes. So I'm going to take a small little pencil brush. This is a 210 from BK Beauty. And I'm gonna go into those first two shades we used. So the brown and the cream. Now, y'all know me, I'm not big into a ton on the lower lash line. That's just not really, I don't love that on myself. So I'm not gonna do a lot here, but I am gonna put those two shades underneath just to kind of tie everything together. Now it's time for a little bit of liner. So I'm gonna take, I had two pulled out here. I have Victoria Beckham and Makeup by Mario. I think we'll go Makeup by Mario. This is his liner in the shade Taupe. If you watch my videos, you've heard me talk about this many times, but I am gonna start my liner where my lower lash line and my upper lash line meet. And that is where I'm gonna draw my little wing. I learned that trick from Nikki LaRose. She said she likes doing that because that gives you the perfect little angle for a wing, and I think it really does. It's a really nice little trick. And then I'm gonna apply it on the upper lash line, but only halfway. So I'm not gonna go in any farther than the center of my eye, just because my eyes are more hooded and I find that that kind of closes them off when I do that. So I only line to the center. And then I'm gonna take that little pencil brush that we used a minute ago and kind of go over it and smudge it just a little. And then I'm gonna take that liner and we are gonna put that in the waterline as well. Now we're gonna go into mascara, but before we do, we're gonna curl the lashes. Don't skip this step either. I like this one from Refer. This is the smaller lash curler. I think it's the number 18. So I like to pump a bunch of times and then hold for like 10 seconds. Now, if you have trouble with your lashes not holding a curl, I would suggest waterproof mascara. And this is something I actually just started doing like in the last month. I have never done waterproof mascara until recently, but I swear everybody's been saying it to me for so long that it does help your lashes stay curled if you have trouble with that. And you know what? It's true. It truly does make a big difference in keeping your lashes curled. So if you have trouble with that, take it from me. Use waterproof mascara. This is a Lash Sensational from Maybelline, but it's a new tube, so it may not be the best right now, but oof, if you want to hold a curl, this is how you do it. Finally, we are onto the lips. Now, first thing you gotta do is take your lip prep off. You gotta get it all off. If you don't, your lip products will not stick. Then, if you really want your lip to last, which I'm assuming you do, if it's long wear makeup, you're gonna take some of your setting powder. You don't have to use a ton of it, but you're gonna powder over your lips. That's step one. Then you wanna obviously choose a pretty long wear lip liner. One of the best that I have that's transfer proof, so it's a great option for longevity, is the YSL. So we're gonna go in with this, and this is shade 103. Perfect color for me. For a lip color, I really want to use my blush because it's, I don't know, I feel like that's just gonna look really good. It's very monochromatic. I also kind of want to use Charlotte Tilbury Naughty Talk. I mean, honestly, this is very similar, so we're gonna go for this. This color is just perfect. Obviously not the most like long wearing lip product, but you know, I can take this with me in my purse. And then y'all know I am a gloss person, so I'm always gonna do a gloss. One of my all-time favorites, I have one with me at all times pretty much, is Maybelline Lifter in Toffee. Perfect. And then I'm gonna go back in with the lip liner one more time. We're pretty much done. I do not like mascara on my lower lashes, so I'm not doing that. I don't know, I just don't love that on myself. But what we are going to do now is setting spray one more time. You could go in with MAC Fix Plus again, or you could use something even more heavy duty. I guess I'll do it for the sake of the video. One size. Now, this is heavy duty, okay? This is like waterproof. This will keep your makeup on, but it is like hairspray in your face. So I would only do this for special occasions. Please do not apply this all the time. Please hold. Gosh, I just inhaled it. Ugh. I'm telling you it works though. It does. One final step I do pretty much always is I take my Fenty Invisimatte powder, usually with a smaller brush. We'll just use this one. And I just kind of go around and add a little bit of this anywhere where I want to smooth or mattify just a little bit more. And it's a really nice way to finish the makeup. And there we go. I'm telling you, follow these steps. This makeup will last you. It will last you through heat, humidity, hours and hours and hours of wear. This makeup will last you. I'm going to be recreating this on myself in about a month. All right, so this is the finished hair and makeup. This is my perfect long wear event, will last all day makeup routine, makeup tutorial. I hope this was helpful or at least enjoyable. And thank you again to Dreame for partnering with me on a portion of today's video. If you're interested in the Airstyler Era, it will be linked in the description box along with my discount code. Let me know, like I said, what some of your long wear makeup and hair products are that you like to use for special occasions or when you need your makeup to last a really long time. Let me know in the comments. Everything that I used today will be linked in the description box and in YouTube shopping for you as well. If you do shop through my links, I do make a commission that supports my channel. So thank you so much for that. And if you're new, I hope you'll stick around and subscribe. We would love to have you here. And follow me over on Instagram at simply.blair and TikTok simply.blair1. And I will see you again very soon. Remember, simply be you.